video this morning. Just wanted to pass on something I've had a bit of a revelation in realising, which I wish I'd thought about sooner, and that is the subject of guitar stands, which is not that interesting, but it's actually been a bit of a source of stress. So I have a few guitars, four here, and I obviously want to store them in quite a compact way where they're still accessible, and I want them to be protected. But I also don't like spending money. Who does? So initially I bought this stand here, which is by a company called Gorilla Stands. Sounds like it's going to be tough, like it's going to fulfill all those criteria. It certainly fulfilled the not very expensive criteria. And I wanted to just highlight the shortcomings of a cheap multi-guitar stand versus what arrived the other day, which was this, which is a Conniger-Mayer 4-guitar stand. And the difference in quality is amazing. But the difference in price is not that big. This is probably the most expensive guitar stand you can buy. It's in the top bracket, and this is roughly the cheapest. And the difference between slotting a guitar into the K&M, which is relaxing, and you have no sense of it possibly getting damaged, versus the Gorilla, where it feels like a constant balancing act, where you could get a ding or chip in your guitar at any moment, it's quite big. So let me just demonstrate why. This is the Gorilla stands. And this is the Conniger-Mayer. So if I take a guitar, you can see that the bottom of this is made of silicon, or some sort of soft silicon material. These edges are flexible. They stop the guitars hitting each other. There's another flexible one there. And you have the same on the top. These things are very soft. It's hard to imagine them damaging the guitar unless, maybe they react with a certain type of lacquer or something like that. But I'm reassured Fender guitars, it's not going to be an issue. There's additional space here just to give more room for the guitars. And it actually folds down into quite a small unit if necessary. There's also plenty of ground clearance underneath the rack, so there's no chance of a strange profile guitar. You'll also note that at the back, not all the guitars sit flush against the back, but that's still perfectly secure and I have no worries about that. If we flip to the Gorilla stands, that is how a guitar should sit in there. You'll notice that it's quite flimsy. There's nothing really stopping this guitar just sliding out other than a bit of gravity. You can angle the back exactly how you want it. And for this guitar, it sits very neatly on both of these two bars. But for other guitars, such as this Ibanez bass, it doesn't actually sit on the back bar at all. Which means that this is really flopping around. If it does sit in there, at the top, you'll see the neck doesn't sit against the back, which means that it really feels like that could topple over at any minute. And then the problems stack up when you put two guitars in. I've managed to balance these so they're not touching each other. You see at the top there's very little clearance between the two headstocks. You can only put guitars in a certain order and direction in which they sort of tessellate. And generally it's just not a very reassuring experience. Added to which these can knock into each other. So you see at the back, the back of this guitar can touch the controls of the one on the left. And that is what causes dings. So in conclusion, I would recommend buying the most expensive best protective stand you can afford. £120, which is for the K&M, is not a lot compared to the cost of 3 guitars that you're going to be putting in it. If you care about the condition of those guitars, I would say it's highly worth it.